Okay, so I want to give a little run through of getting set up on the Google Arts and Culture site, so that you can collect artworks and actually create virtual collections, and that way it can be used in various kinds of projects. So I've come here. It used to be called the Google Art Project, but now it's part of the Google Cultural Institute. So here we are at the Google Arts and Culture site, and the URL is up here, www.google.com/culturalinstitute/beta. All right, and so the layout's a little bit different than it used to be years ago. It's still very nice, very robust, and I think part of that is because when I first started using this, there were barely a dozen museums that were taking part in this project, and now it's hundreds. And whether museums or other cultural art museums or other cultural institutions. What I'm going to do is just show you a little bit here as to how these things run, trying to collect things in order to make small exhibits online. Excuse me. Wow, actually, I did something not long ago on Anna Atkins. So one of the things is that you can come through and go through their partners, see what institutes are participating with them, museums and that kind of thing. There are various projects. I haven't even checked on experiments yet, but you can also do searches by artists, by medium, movements, historical events, historical figures, places. So you can use the Google map to find places and say, I want to see the stuff that's come from or is housed in this area. Things like that. Things that are nearby you. So there is a mobile app, as you can see over here, whether getting it on Google Play or from the Apple store for mobile. But what I want to focus on right now, though, is how you look at things, favorite things. So I'm just going to kind of poke around, find a few things to show you about how to start up a small collection. Let's say I want to go to look at a particular artist. Right? Now, of course, what it seems like they're doing is maybe with their algorithm starting with all. Is probably looking a lot at who's been looking at things, what's been very popular. So you might notice that especially the first results that show up is a very Western perspective, and probably most of their partners showing a lot of Western art. Not all. I've seen some really great stuff in all kinds of genres. And geographic regions, but you can look someone up, A through Z, look through a particular time period. Oh, there we go, Bernice Abbott. So let's have a look at some first, and as you see, right, there's actually here they've got like these double listings here. So 10 items over here on this one for Bernice Abbott, and yet 90 over in this other. But let's have a look at this sort of five and dime here. And if I see something that I might like to include in a collection, then I can do this. Now here's what for me, one of the things that walkthrough tours is also really great, but one of the things that is just so phenomenal about this particular project that Google has is that they're using Gigapixel Photography to document the works in these institutions, and therefore, right, as you see, it says I think 1%, but you can actually zoom in here very, very well, right? It takes a moment for it to clear back up after doing so. Now, this is not as close as you can actually get on some artworks. I'll show you some others in a little bit, but in another video, looking more at this sort of function. I just want to give a quick overview. So what happens is that in order to create this, some kind of online collection for yourself that maybe you would post in class, turn in for an assignment, something like this, you have to favorite it. And so then to favorite it, in order to put it into some kind of collection to create a virtual exhibit, you have to sign in. It's free, but you do have to sign in, or if you don't have a Google account, you do have to sign up for one. So I will sign in. I will sign in here. Let's see, make sure that's the right one. I have several because some of the institutions I work for use Gmail and things like that in the Google Drive. So now I can come through and favorite it, and then I actually want to kind of look at maybe some other things. Let's see here. How about another artist? Let's see. Actually, what did we do? Time frames. Alright, so let's say we want to look at something from a particular time. I want to go maybe around the 1940s, 1950s. So here we go. Alright, let's see. Oh, let's go with Gordon Parks here. Alright, so Gordon Parks, 11,579 items. And then, so there's actually this entire online exhibit from the High Museum, and we can actually kind of collect some things from it. So, kind of like this here. Right, and again, we can do the zoom in. It's probably about like it was for the Margaret Port White, but the great thing is, right, you can zoom in so well and move all around the work. As you can see here, it is moving all around so that you can see all these details, right? Even the grain of the paper. Alright, so I zoom out of it, and I can favorite it as well. Now, what I can do is I can come here to favorites, and I can say, okay, I guess I favorited a couple things not long ago, and I can actually create a collection based on items that I might want to use. So I can say, okay, I can click on these and say, all right, next, and I will call this, title early 20th century. Oops. Century photography in the U.S. Okay, so I give this little title. I can give a description. I can choose to make it public or not. If I make it public, then that probably allows me to share it, or others to be able to find it. I don't necessarily have to. I can keep it private and work on it until I would want to maybe publish it. But a lot of times, it might even be able to, I'd have to check on this, but okay, so with it being private, I don't think I can actually then share it. So it would have to be made public. So if I go through and change this, I can make it public, save it, and now, right now, I could share that. So, on social media and email, a lot of times with email, it's that it's going to give you a link, and so then that link could be copied. You can email it to yourself, copy it. There's even a way for things like put it in different kinds of learning management systems like Blackboard, but of course it also depends on whether or not Blackboard will integrate with it. So it may or may not. So that's why a lot of times the easiest function is to have it with something like the email, and that way you have the link that you could then put, if you are having to train for class, you could then put that URL in a maybe discussion board, or the assignment submission link, or wherever it is that you have to turn in that assignment, right? And that way also, because I mean these images are so enormous, there's no way to load them up. There's no way to put them into a Word document, PDF, that kind of thing, as they are, right? It would actually take you, unless you have a really great computer, there's no way for you to download the original like gigapixel image, right? You could do a smaller screenshot, maybe to use an assignment, but you couldn't get that actual original. But if you're wanting to be able to show the sorts of details or do like a walkthrough, things like that, kind of like I'm doing here, it would require really coming to this. Like you could actually do an explanation through video by doing a screencast and showing the image and walking through and talking about it and pointing out different details. So that's just a very brief thing about saving things for collections. And as you see right on the bottom, it even gives, based on my choices, it's actually giving some suggestions as what else I might want to look at and include in this collection, or to perhaps have a similar collection started. Alright, so more on the Google Institute soon.